Get the makeup going.
We're live, ladies
Hey,
and
everybody.
gentlemen. Welcome to another live stream. We have Danny Vose. Is that how you say your last
That is
name?
correct. Yes, sir.
All right. He's outlaw dog training. He was a cop. Now he's an outlaw
That's right.
training dogs. And
Training dogs.
yeah, nothing wrong with that. I mean,
Hell no.
while we start welcoming people, I'm going to share this and go ahead and share it as well. Check the Bow Wow Bill page here, and then we'll get off to the races here. How are you doing, dude?
I'm doing pretty good, man. How about yourself? Sorry, I'm
good.
Camera here real quick. Let's get this shared.
Yeah, we were trying to arrange this earlier, but then I was just like, "Yeah, you want to go live?" And you're like, "Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it." Sorry, is it okay to cuss?
Yeah, sure. I don't care.
I have no filter, man. I'm like, my clients just laugh when I do it, but I'm like, that's who I am.
Let's see here. Can you see it live? There we go. I see it live.
Not yet. Let me refresh.
I see us. And everybody, if you, hey, Dylan's there. Dylan Maxwell Blah, I think. I don't know how to say your last name, Dylan. Blue Blah. I do know.
Yeah, one of those. I'm terrible with names. It's funny. I don't remember my clients' names, but I'll remember their dogs. But
we were talking about that, Adrian and I. It's just like, oh, hey, what's up? And then you look up to the human, and you're like, and you are.
I default to mom and dad. It seems to work.
Yeah, mom and dad. Well, that's what Robin McFarland. She named her business "That's My Dog" because she could not remember the dog's name or anybody's name, so she would just be like, "Oh, that's my dog."
That's a funny one. I was doing a group lesson. I don't usually do group lessons. I hate them. But I agreed to do one for L3, which is a major defense contractor out here. They have a canine club, and they were like, Danny, please, please, please. So I did it last year, and I did it again this year. And this year, I don't know what the fuck was going on, but like every single dog, it didn't matter if it was male, I would call it female. If it was female, I was calling it male. Like, what the fuck is going on out here? Like, terrible memory. Oops, sorry about that. I got my laptop sitting on my lap, so it's gonna get all janky when I move, but
it's quite all right. I'm going to share one more group, and then we're. Do you want to give people a quick rundown about what you do, where you are?
Yeah, so I'm in Greenville, Texas, which is probably about 43, 45 miles from Dallas on the interstate, so don't take long to get here. Most of my clients come from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I used to be a deputy sheriff for a number of years, and for 3.5 of those years, I was a canine handler.
Okay.
And I've always loved dogs, and I've trained dogs, God, since I was little, not professionally or anything, but.
Where's the cowboy hat? Sam wants to know.
Sam, it is way too hot, sir.
Larry's here. Hey, Larry.
Hey, Larry. How you doing, brother? So, we had dogs growing up, and this is how I got interested. We lived in Germany. My dad was in the Air Force, and someone was moving back to the States, and they couldn't take their boxer with them. So they gave him to my dad, and this fucking dog was phenomenal, man. Like, wouldn't eat out of a bowl. It had to eat off my mom's super expensive Wedgwood plates. The leash was up on the refrigerator. He'd go up, get the leash, bring it to you when he wanted to go out. Would only drink out of the faucet. I mean, this dog was just crazy. But at the time, I'm little. I'm like 6 years old. I thought it was flipping amazing. Like, this dog, like, blew my mind. And that's when I fell in love with what you could do. Shut up, Sam. This is what you could do with dogs when I was little. So when we came back to the States, and we had to give that dog away when we moved, and it devastated me, man. I sat on that couch and cried like I was a baby out for forever. It was just too expensive. My dad wasn't an officer, so we didn't get a lot of money. But anyway, so that devastated me. So that kind of probably is the seed of why I don't take in rescues and foster, because I can't give them away. So we have no room to take them in and keep them. So I can't foster and then give them away. It break my heart. So I just can't do it. I don't mind training them for people that rescue and foster. Hi, Adrian. But for me personally, and I know I'm all over the fucking place with this shit, but I can't do it. I love them too much. But anyway, we came back to the States. We got another dog, and I started doing just treat training, and it went okay. It wasn't great or nothing. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was making shit up as I went, and that was it. And that was the catalyst.
You were kind of just intuitively just seeing what felt good.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably more free shaping than anything.
Okay.
I would just watch what it did, and if I liked it, I marked it.
Yep. Did you use clicker?
No, I just used yes. And at the time, I didn't know the difference, marker, clicker, none of that shit. I was just telling, yeah, good job, here you go, out of natural instinct, conversational kind of thing. Like I would say to a kid, good job.
Yep. Even today, I say thank you to the dog.
Yeah, always.
Thank you. Always. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
You're a good boy. So handsome.
Talking to it and looking at you like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Well, and we just shared this to a bunch of groups. Stacy Link says, I get that, Danny.
Yes, ma'am.
And then it says, hey, Bill. Hey, Stacy. Good to see you here. If everybody would hit the share button, let's get this video shared far and wide. Greatest trainer right there by Misty McBride. So
I've trained 2 of her dogs a mile in a Great Day, and she is a fantastic person. She is actually one of the officers that was injured in the ambush in Dallas several years ago.
Oh my goodness!
Shot in the arm, and I'm about to cry about that shit. But
yeah,
she is.
Well, I mean, she's got a Malinois too. Say no more.
Now.
Yeah, exactly. And just like you were saying earlier about, I have to say about the boxers I was eating off the Wedgwood plates.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know this. Here's a little off subject, little fun fact for you. Darwin, that studied and wrote the theory of evolution. He came and it was funded from the Wedgwood family.
No shit.
Yeah. And he actually belonged to the Wedgwood family. So there's a little fun fact for you and a little knowledge.
Yeah, I got those in my garage, man. I'm too chicken shit to put them out because they were my mom. She passed, but super expensive. I'm like, man, but beautiful. Anyway.
What is this? You better learn your cur. That's not appropriate. What's that mean?
Explain yourself, woman.
Christy says, hey, Danny. Danny Vose here. So,
hey, Christy, she's one of my tattoo artists right down the street.
Fantastic. Well, it's crazy. And Danny's covered with tattoos too. He just got one honoring his grandfather or father.
My dad. It's hard to see in the camera, but I'll post them online. But my buddy did a tribute to my mom to honor her because she passed. And then my dad's got Alzheimer's. And I wanted him to see these before because I just was out there a couple weeks ago. And so he did this up before I left. And it's just phenomenal, man. Phenomenal work.
Awesome. I'm sorry to hear about your dad. Those memory. And I just lost my dad in January. So I think, it's just so profound. And I didn't think that it would be so profound. But I think that a man losing his father really, really challenges them to be who they're supposed to be, or who they, that really, really test their potential.
Absolutely.
And, I feel that.
It makes you realize that they weren't always wrong.
Well, and it also makes you realize your own mortality as well.
For sure. Yeah.
That we have a finite time on this plane of existence, and to do the change and to affect as much good as we can, in my opinion,
Most definitely.
So you started as a cop. You went to, you went and you did the trick training stuff. So you got a family dog. We'll go back even before you were a cop. And then, so what did you said it was okay, but it wasn't.
Well, comparatively now, like now I'm phenomenal. Not to toot my own horn or anything. No, I'm just kidding. But back then, it was sloppy. Like if you saw someone just starting out, you know what I mean? Mistakes galore, timing. But that dog, it was so in tune with me, I guess, that it just.
Oh, you say tell.
I made a mistake and it didn't follow suit. You know what I'm saying?
You better learn you cur. Okay.
So what's funny with that, I got a little story here. Like my Malinois, which is my police canine. The first time we went to certify, I was like a fucking pile of nerves, man. I was just like, oh shit, I'm gonna fuck all this up. And that dog just walked through it like, I've done this so many times. I got you, because I was her third handler, so she'd been through all this before. And this was my first event. So she just walked right through it, and I just followed her lead. And she took me through the whole certification, and I didn't have to do shit really, just send her a watch. But it was good. It's good to have a dog like that. So, so going back, so I had that dog, and then he passed, and then I adopted him. They didn't want me to, but I did anyway. I adopted another dog, and I actually took him out when I moved to Texas, and he passed away 2003 or 4. I had cancer, so. But that dog I didn't really train. He was just pretty good. And then my wife actually told Brandy I said hi. My wife actually rescued a puppy. She's an ER nurse, and this dog was running through the sliding doors because it was raining out. It was running through, and they'd shoo it out, and it would run back in and shoo it out. So she put it in the family room and called me to come get it. So I came and got it. And so brought it home. And I'm telling you right now, I did absolutely no training with that dog, and it was effing phenomenal. Like, I firmly believe if you have plenty of dogs in your lifetime, you'll get one that never has to be trained and is just does everything right. You know what I mean? And this was that dog. So
push button dogs, easy dogs.
Yep. And then I went into the sheriff's office and always wanted to be canine. On the application, I was like, I want canine. So as soon as it popped up, usually you have to be three or 4 years before you can move in to a specialty thing in police world. And it was a year and a half, and they're like, "Here you go," and I was like, "Thank you, Jesus."
They're like, "Leave us alone."
Yeah. I had fun, man. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. But and then I started with a franchise company, who shall not be named, and then got out of that because it wasn't very good. And then started my own again on my own. So here I am on my own, doing my own thing. Answer to nobody but my clients. And that's the way I like it.
Outlaw dog training.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 1 foot over the line.
So why did you go with that name?
I think it suits me. It's my personality.
Okay.
You know, I smoke weed. I like it. That's
so
over that line. I love outlaw country music. I don't like pop country at all. Shit. So it just kind of falls in line with my shit. I like shooting guns. I like doing all kinds, riding motorcycles, doing all these things that people are perceived as being outlawish.
Well, you're from Texas. I mean, where were you born at?
I was born at Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio.
Okay, so you're Texan.
So I'm Texan. That's why I got the flag. Yeah.
My name is William Travis Church. So really? I'm named after Colonel Travis that fought at the Alamo.
Nice.
So my dad is true Texas. My dad was, and he also was a professional bull rider.
Holy shit!
Yep.
That's
and he was also a photographer, a wonderful artist, and I'm going to be going through a lot of his pictures and stuff. And I hope to make a book with a collection of his prints. But I definitely think that I got his artistic eye, and
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm working with the glass, and you know, ever since he passed away.
With that glass, man, really good.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's a challenging medium, you know, and it's a lot of people don't realize that I do blow glass, but that's something that I've taken up a few years ago. And you know, just like when you learn anything, you apply yourself, and at the beginning it's pretty obvious, just like Danny was saying, when he first started working with dogs, it's sloppy, your timing's off, and you know, there's so many things that it's obvious, but as you work and sometimes you have forgiving dogs, you know, well, the most time you have forgiving dogs.
Sometimes you don't.
Yeah, when you get up to the higher maintenance breeds, the Mals and all that stuff, you know, that's when you start getting a little bit more you know, challenging, that you need to know what you're doing. Otherwise, you're going to be trial by fire, so to speak. Are you a veteran?
Yeah, I enlisted in the Navy in 1991, right during the first Gulf War, and got out because I have an autoimmune disease. Once they discovered that, they're like, "Get the fuck out!" And I said,
"Later,
no problem." I should have went Air Force if I was smarter with Air Force, but I went Navy like a dumbass. So I thought I was going to be a big-ass, badass Navy SEAL until I found out I had an autoimmune disease, and they're like, "Yep, nope, not going to happen." I'm like, "Yeah, neither is this," so I'm out. So, but yeah, I was for a while.
Okay.
And then I came home, worked stupid jobs, and then my mom got diagnosed with cancer, so I became her caretaker. All the appointments, everything, whatever she needed. So.
How long ago was that?
That was mid 90s. She passed away June 10th, 2000, when I was 26. Yep.
And you were there all the way up to the bitter end, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I almost punched the doctor in the face. I don't know why doctors do this shit. They come out and go, I'm sorry they expired. What the fuck is that shit? Like they're food or something, I understand it now, but at the time, it was insensitive, and I was just like, my dad had hold me back. I was going to whoop his ass. So, and that all stems from losing your mom. It's not anything other than that pain jumping out at that person. So
yeah. Try and transmute it, but I also think that we belong to a Western culture that has that's very death phobic, and once death has kind of peeks its head, then people tend to act different, and I think it's a blessing that we have as a dog professional that we get to practice this with people. We get to practice the death and dying aspect.
Yeah.
And check it out. I got a girl that just come up to say hello. Her name is Izzy, and where are you at? I don't know. Can you see her? Oh, she's not in the thing. But I have a deaf and mostly blind Great Dane here with me, and she just walked up to me and here, let's see if I can show her to you here. There she is.
She just in for training?
She's just staying with me for a few days.
Nice.
She's been in here. Yeah, she's awesome, but she's trying to get some pets and some love here.
Of course. Oh yeah.
So, and then that was 2000.
Yeah. And then right after that, I moved to Texas.
From
Sacramento, California.
Okay, and then that's when you stopped being a cop?
No, I didn't become a cop until I was out here in Texas.
Okay.
2010. So from the time I got out here, me and my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, she's an ER nurse, and I was just fucking off. Morning fucking off, being a prick, like my mom died, I don't have to do shit. And then I started going to college, going that route. And then I went to the police academy, put myself through that, right into the sheriff's office, and owned that shit. So.
And how long did you do that for?
Almost 7 years.
Goodness.
Yeah. And then I left because I have the autoimmune disease started flaring up, and I was pushing 270 at the time when I quit.
Okay.
And I'm down to 210 now. I
Awesome.
fluctuate, but so I was having to take pain pills all the time, and it just was miserable. And sorry, somebody tried to call. I was miserable all the time, getting in and out of the car. It was painful. And then the political bullshit, backstabbing and crap that goes on at any elected office,
Yeah.
I don't put up with that shit. I don't brown nose anybody.
Which a sheriff, people need to realize that a sheriff that's where that purview is elected,
Yeah, you don't have civil service.
What's that?
It's not civil service. They can fire you on a whim. So.
Well, in the Shire Eef, that's where the Shire, once the Shire got a little bit big, then they had the Shire Eef, which would be the person that would kind of mitigate disputes and just try to take care of conflict.
Right.
And once you reach a certain level, a certain number of people, then, it becomes a different need for this. And then as we grow as a population, but then it just becomes a whole slippery subject of, what constitutes as a crime and man's law versus natural law.
Probably where you and I disagree a little bit.
Yeah.
That's fine. I don't care. We're still friends, and we're on the opposite sides of that spectrum there, I think, a little bit, but that's all good.
Yeah. And that's, it is what it is, but it's also, we are coming together as dog trainers and, to improve life. What's that?
Dog trainers and friends, for sure.
Oh yeah, and friends. That's absolutely.
That's important.
well, and Adrian says, I've never trained a deaf blind dog. I really want to. I tell you what, the e-collar, it's all about the e-collar with these dogs, and just using anything that you can that the dog is going to pick up on. What's going to be missing from the sight and the hearing is going to be accelerated and amplified in the smells and just, I think, the tactile touch.
Correct.
And so I stomp on the ground a lot more if I want her attention. I'll flash the lights, and then of course that e-collar, man.
Yeah. Do you find yourself using more vibrate or actual stim?
I like stim.
Yeah.
I mean, and the vibrate, I mean, it just depends on what I want to do and how the dog responds to it. But you know, you know, and also the client too, how comfortable the client is and how proficient the client is with the collar. If I have a client that's elderly, that doesn't really have really good dexterity, I might do vibration with a easy push button dog.
Right.
You know, it just depends. You know.
Yeah.
How about you?
I use the vibrate only, the pager from e-collar Technologies, and Nick,
my beard is better. What about me, Nick?
Mine's got wisdom fibers, son.
I guess wisdom. Mine's fireproof.
But I like the pager system because it has the different intensity on the vibrate, and I use the vibrate a lot on a deaf dog.
Yeah, the olfactory aspect is fascinating. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm sure that this dog can smell a whole different dimension, like a level of me than and my place here. And you know, a fun fact, even in human beings, the olfactory sense is the strongest sense tied to memory.
Yeah.
You know, and so if I can smell like an old cigar or old pipe, you know, reminds me of back when I was a kid.
Yep.
And so, I mean, and we lock in on this stuff. I try to think of what do we see with our nose first? You know, how dogs, they kind of see the world with their nose first.
I'll tell you what, man, when I was a cop, I worked with, I don't want to say I worked with, I put in the back seat of my patrol car some very, very smelly people that when I went to the house to pick them up on a warrant, you could smell them trying to hide.
Yeah.
They'll never shower, never nothing. Just nasty ass people. Nasty.
Yeah. Well, and that's it, is that there's an aspect of that too that we can learn from, you know. I mean, the only thing that I think of, I mean, well, people, and we have to think about like our own, I guess, cleanliness. I don't know, you know, because we don't want to be sick or come into contact with something that could be potentially contagious or any of that, you know. But the other aspect I'm thinking is like when we wake up in the morning, you know, smell coffee.
Right.
You know, that might be something that might wake us up a little bit more that we can see with. Smoke.
Yeah.
You know, especially weed smoke.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The bearded band of brothers. That's funny. But that's it. But imagine if that's what we smell. I mean, barbecue.
Yeah.
I love barbecue. We'll be out there and smell, and I mean, even the dogs will smell that. But yeah, I mean, it's fascinating. That's, I think, why we do what we do.
Definitely.
You know, we have 5 million scent cells. The dog has 120 million to upwards of 200, 220 million.
Yeah.
And some of the bloodhounds there. So
I always, when people would ask me, you know, about scent detection or something like that, I explain, you know, dog can go, or we go into a kitchen and smell spaghetti, and a dog goes in there and smells oregano, garlic, each individual ingredient. And that's why you can put 5 scents and train them on meth, coke, heroin, and all that shit at the same time versus one at a time, because they can separate it, unlike us. So people, it just blows their mind when they see that happen, and you have to explain it like that. It makes sense to them.
I just love watching dogs work, man.
Yeah. I could do it all day long. If they had a direct TV channel of just working dogs all day, I'd sit here and do that and be fat and poor.
Well, I mean, just like you were saying with your initial exam with the police academy, I mean, with the handler, how the dog kind of walked you through it. You know?
Totally. Yeah. It knew the routine because it's the same routine. You know, you got your obedience, you've got your agility part of it, you got your bite work part, you got the apprehension part. When the gunfire goes off, they take off immediately and go do the bite and all that. And she just walked right through it, and I'm like, hey, this is perfect. I don't have to do shit. So it works out well, man. And dogs are fucking amazing.
Yeah, that's the truth, dude. Well, and they have stuff that I mean, some of these dogs, especially, you know, like Tar Heel or a couple other places that train these working dogs, they'll work these dogs at a year old.
Yeah.
You know, they'll start them at a year old.
Yep.
You know, and that, to me, that blew my mind.
Well, who is it? I seen this video. Is it Subtle that had that little puppy that he was going to the mailbox? I mean, fucking 6-week-old, 8-week-old puppy just going to the mailbox and finding the scent and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
Starting them early, man. That dog is going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, I think that, you know, even better, you know, to start them early. But then when I talked to them, they were like, dude, we just see what the dog basically has.
Yeah.
And then we just point them to it because these dogs are so freaking wild. You know, it doesn't really matter, dude. We get them to their potential, and then once they're at the potential, you know, then we point them to the direction, and then they show us what they're capable of, and then we take notes on how to refine and to, you know, polish that. But it's something that the dog shows you what they have first. It's not something that we see and try to put into the dog.
Yes.
The dog shows you what they have, and I think that's fascinating too.
Definitely, it's kind of like a free shaping event,
right? But yeah, show me what you got. But it's like, instead of us marking on it, they just go.
You stand there and watch, and I'll go do this.
Yeah, and just like go, and then until they stop, and then one guy will stop, or till they balk, or till they, you know, hesitate, and we take notes of like, okay, this dog needs to work on this again, and then we keep on working at it. But the dog shows us, and that's when the dogs start getting dropped from the program. You know, because that's just how we do things. You just have to. The dog is expected to do certain things, and that's why only a small amount make it to the top.
Yeah, and an even smaller amount go to those tier 1 special forces teams, because those dogs can't make mistakes. You know, if they make a mistake, somebody's dying. You know, whereas narcotic dogs, somebody might die because they snorted too much or some shit, but it's not as profound as a bomb exploding and taking out 20 people or 100 people or something like that. So those dogs have to be even better.
The explosive dogs?
Yeah. We work with.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. We work with some in our USPCA, our region. We have a Department of Energy dogs, and they have bomb dogs that are also apprehension dogs. They're all mounts, and those dogs are freaking amazing. Amazing. Just watching them sniff out powder or whatever the hell they're sniffing out, just never missing. Never.
Well, I know bomb dogs are only 95%.
Yep.
What does that mean? Bomb dogs are only 95%. I don't know. Can you clarify, Nick?
95% accurate.
Or only 95% accurate. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, don't they mark them on toner a lot of times?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I think that they've imprinted a lot of these dogs on toner because, and then when the bombs came through, so there was a bomb scare a few years ago on the toner pallets from FedEx, and they had somebody try to sneak some bombs in, and then when they said toner pallet, I was like, somebody knows about dog training, because that's what they'll mark these dogs on a lot of times. Yeah. Oh, required 95% required accuracy. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, that would make sense. But yeah, it's very interesting how these dogs are trained and what's expected of them. And when you take that into consideration, it just makes things that much more impressive.
Definitely. Neutral
when we get it, but good, but God, what? But I don't know. Well, there's that whole aspect that this thing can explode in your face in a minute, man.
Yeah, fuck that. I'm out of there.
Yeah, that would give me anxiety by itself, you know, that Hurt Locker life.
Yeah, for real.
So how long have you been doing this professionally in your own business?
So I started with the franchise when I was still at the sheriff's office for 2 years before I left the sheriff's office, and then went full-time for another 3 years. And I just started my outlaw dog training 2 years ago.
Okay.
I sold and got out and started over on my own, but not terribly long comparatively to some people in the field, but
bog dogs have alerted on flares such as phosphates and calcium fertilizer and all. Absolutely. I mean, that's what's used as Timothy McVeigh used that in the Oklahoma City bombing of phosphates fertilizer.
Yep.
Wild stuff, man. So what have you noticed? I mean, what typically do you get? Do you get more working dogs, do you find, or do you?
Yeah.
I see that. Why do you hate to do group classes?
First of all, I don't like being in crowds, but the reason I hate doing them mostly is because someone always needs more help than someone else. So I always feel like I'm shortchanging the other people.
Okay.
So I end up, instead of an hour, I'm there 3 hours so that everybody gets the same amount of time. And that just drains me. So I hate it. Hate it, hate it, hate it. If it came out where people, and I'm not saying anybody's ever said anything to me because I just don't do group classes. That's just my thought process on it. But when I'm doing these ones for L3 over here, that's always what happens. I'm there 2 or 3 hours because I'm always trying to help people because I feel like I shortchanged them because I was working on a problem dog with someone else real quick, or not real quick, but so I'm just not a fan of it. And sometimes it's just too much distraction too for certain dogs.
I think it's hard. People don't realize that it's hard to legislate how to train or work with an animal. It's an abstract type of thing that you got to try to put into a way that people are going to understand. And then you have a coordination aspect and a timing aspect, and some people you'll just see the first couple of drills and you're going to be like, okay, we're going to be here for a while.
The drool coming down their mouth and just like, hey, so Bill, these group classes don't do e-collar though. I only do
welcome
on collar and slip lead, and food. Just because there's no way that probably out of the 15, probably like 2 could possibly do the e-collar, but I won't even do that for them unless they've gone through this whole basic foundation part of it. So last year was my first year doing it. This year I had 3 people come and do e-collar work because they went through that whole 6-week foundation program. So then next year they want me to come back, which I'm like, why? I hate it. But anyway.
That's why.
So there'll probably be a couple people that will want to do e-collar work.
Nick says, I just did mine first one 2 weeks ago. 11 people came and I thought the same thing. Feedback was awesome. I just took that leap and did it. It's definitely more bang for your buck, though. And that's what I tell people. I'm like, look at, man, you guys, if you're paying me at least $150 an hour.
Yep.
And depending on what we're doing, we could be there for quite a while. And in this classroom session, you're paying literally a fraction of that, and you're getting, my time for 10 hours or whatever it is. Keep in mind that you're going to have to do the work and you're going to have to keep up on the homework and there's no substitute around it. There's no way around over.
You can't do it once a week and go home and fuck off the rest of the week. It's not going to work.
So. I went to class, so there's expectations that and I become a lot more no nonsense. And I think people appreciate that.
Definitely. I always tell my clients I'm very upfront and blunt. Sorry if you get offended, but I only get you for an hour.
That's right.
No candy coating shit. This is how it is. Yep. If you fuck up, I'll tell you. I won't be rude about it. I'll joke about it and have fun with you. But I'm getting straight to the point. There's no time to beat around the bush and sugarcoat the shit for them. You just got to say how it is.
Yep. Well, and I tell them, look, you're paying me, so here it goes.
Straight up. Yeah. Unless you want to pay me for 2 hours.
Well, and that's it. Is it puts value on your time, and that's what people need to realize too. Is when you give away free stuff, especially dog trainers new starting up, sometimes people aren't going to value the information that you're saying. Right?
Yeah, I can tell you when I first started, my prices were a joke.
Hey, Danny, good seeing you, bro, and Bill, pleasure. Good to see you too, Nick.
Good evening, Nick. Talk to you later, brother.
How much were you charging? Do you remember?
Oh Jesus, I want to say like $400 for private lessons. So it came up to about $100 lesson, but that included the e-collar and everything else included in that. So $200 e-collar, you drop that price down now to $200. So $50 an hour, which for most people they're like, holy shit, $50 an hour. But I don't work 8-hour days either, so it's not like I'm getting $50 an hour for 8 hours like you are. You're $20 an hour for 8 hours. So it doesn't make people's mind like that though.
And you got transportation, wear and tear on vehicles, and then the risk that you're taking as putting yourself into the line of a predator. I mean, we have to realize that.
A few times.
Yeah, and sometimes we are the people that are expected to get bit.
That's for damn sure.
I've been bitten quite a bit too. Luckily, as time goes on, you learn to read these dogs and get bit a lot less often in theory.
And luckily, some of the clients don't know what aggression really is. I had a lady, my dog's aggressive, da 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 da, and it never bit anyone. It just lunged at people.
Yeah.
And she came out to the facility, and I had forgotten completely, because shitty memory, that this was the dog that was supposed to be aggressive. And I bent my face down right to that dog's face like a fucking idiot. I'm not supposed to do anyway, and just loved on it. And it was like, hey, how you doing? And she was like, oh my God, he's never done that to anybody. And I can firmly say it was because I was calm and confident, because I didn't have it in my mind that he was aggressive. Otherwise, I'd have been a lot more nervous. And it probably would have bit me if I'd have done that, had I had that nervous going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it just, I was chastising myself after that whole damn lesson. I was like, what a fucking idiot I am, because it could have been bad. But he wasn't aggressive. He was just fearful.
That's probably 95% of the cases that I see.
Easily.
Yeah. The aggressive ones, I mean, are no joke. I mean, those are the ones that are like, look, this guy is going to need some time and some management, and this is something that is innate in this dog. Where the fearful ones, as soon as you start to address the behavior, and some of the behavior I tell my clients needs to be met head on.
Yes.
And that's why I'm there. And sometimes I've addressed behavior in a couple days. Here's my girl again. Oh, she's I'll put my hand over here. Maybe we'll see. There she goes. Can you see her? Yeah, over here. Yes. She'll come find my hand.
Oh yeah.
There she is.
Man, she's gorgeous.
She just kind of feels me out, and if I put my hand back over here, let's see if she just kind of, but you know what, I have the window cracked, and so she's over here. Here she comes right here.
Like, I don't care what you're doing, just pet me.
Yep, and that's what she does, just nudge me with her nose.
I love it.
Yeah, I love her too, and I love dogs. That's what I love even more, is dogs that are a little bit more challenging. My deaf, blind dogs, my dogs that have been through traumatic situations.
Sure.
My feral dogs, my rescues that I work with.
You got to think outside the box, man.
What's that?
You got to think outside the box on those guys. It's definitely a challenge. It's not cookie cutter training like some of these dogs can be.
Yeah, the push button dogs. You have to take your approach, and you celebrate your victories, and it's all about building trust and realizing the importance of the trust, and that that's like your reputation. It takes a while to build up, but it could take a second to bring down, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm working with a fear aggressive dog now. Have been for several months now, building that relationship up. And we just got the muzzle off a couple of weeks ago, and he lets me pet on him now. Before, when we first started working with him, that dude would lunge, literally jump at me to bite me or anybody else that walked by. We're training in a park, mind you, so that wasn't very good. But the owner put in the work, and then she contacted me and was like, Danny, we're going on a vacation for 3 weeks in August, and I don't trust him to stay with anybody else, so he's going to stay with you. And I'm like, oh, shit. So she came up with the idea that I work with him without her for 30 minutes to an hour once or twice a week to build that relationship so that I can board him and not worry about getting bit. And it's been probably the best thing I've ever done as a trainer, off a client's recommendation, no less.
Well, the rapport is very important with with the dog itself.
Yeah, definitely. She just told me the other day that her nephew that he's actually nipped was able to just lay with him and pet him and love on him, not climb on him or nothing, but just love on him. And he was fine with it.
Awesome.
So he's just building his confidence very, very slow, but it's coming along, and it's been very rewarding.
Well, that's why we do what we do.
Yeah.
It's the reward that we get, but also, the people have to do the work. Definitely.
I've got some clients that put in that work and some that don't. You can totally tell the difference. And I'm just like, So, and that's one of the good things about not having to take everybody in. in the beginning, I was taking everything just so I can get money and get built up, and and I was miserable because I don't want to work with people that don't want to work. If you're not going to do the work, you're wasting my time.
Yeah.
And I've got a very short fuse for bullshit. So I've fired clients before. Like, look, I'm not the trainer for you. You need somebody that doesn't give a shit, basically. And so now I'm very selective. Very selective. Like, I do free consults so that you can meet me and I can meet you and feel you out. Because if I don't have a good vibe on you, I'm not working with you. Just that's how it is. Because I'm who I am,
Yeah.
So one of the things I do, I haven't marketed in a while, but when I do market, I don't market specifically to dog people. I market to people that have the same interests I do: outlaw country music, shooting guns, smoking, all these different things. And that's the people that I attract. And I know I'm going to have some sort of commonality with them, that I can talk to them and joke with them and be me and not have to worry about, are they going to like me or not?
Yeah.
And we can just go right into dog training and bullshit while we're training at the same time. And it's so far, it's been very, very good.
Seems like any crowd that you choose to market to, the commonality is going to be dogs. Everybody loves dogs, dude.
That's true. Everybody loves dogs, but everybody loves dogs to a certain degree, and they're not all as high as mine. So, but yeah, you're right on that. But I mean, like, if I want to go do, let's say, to Dallas, down by the Katy Trail and stuff, where you can walk your dogs through the park and all that, I don't want to go with people that I don't get along with. You know what I mean? So if we all have something in common, we can go out there, drink some beers on the patio while our dogs just chill, and then go for a walk together and bullshit about life and not worry about your dog training at that time. It's phenomenal. And people will pay a premium for that too. So
they belong to, kind of a secret club almost,
Kind of, yeah.
It's very rewarding, and they found, somebody that has made their life better.
Yeah, I like to think so. I don't know that it's always true if I make somebody's life better.
Well, you're helping them communicate with somebody that they love, this,
for sure.
And bringing that relationship to a higher potential than it could be without your help, and that they show that appreciation. I think that's super cool, dude.
Yeah, it is cool. I love it, man. And the cool part about it is, like, they'll text me here and there, and it's not just always about their dog. It's just saying something cool, like, hey, check out this music artist that I just discovered, or hey, look at this gun I just bought, shit like that too. So you have more of a friendship than just a business relationship. And I find that I like that a lot. It makes training so much easier. They know how I am. I cuss. I'm blunt. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? And they're just like, neither do I. So have at it, And it just works out so much better. So much stress is gone because of that.
Well, you're being authentic. You're being yourself, and you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea.
That's for damn sure.
But do you want to be? Yeah, exactly.
I do not want to be.
Yeah, I don't want to be either, man. No. I don't want to appeal to everybody, and there's, a lot of people out there that I'm just glad that, look, I'm not, just like you said, I'm not the guy for you.
Yeah, totally. Millions of people out there, I probably could say that about. So.
Yeah, the majority of people. But it's also, knowing that that's the case and being able to fire people and being like, no, this is not what I do, and getting clear about that.
None. That's where I think before I would have been too nervous to do that, and going and being a cop for as long as I was gave me more confidence to deal with more stressful situations. I've been shot at, tried to been run over, almost stabbed, fights all the time, So I've been through all these things that telling somebody I'm not the person for you is nothing now. Where before I'd have been sweating my ass off and, had no confidence in myself or nothing to tell them, and I would have just suffered through it. And there would have been a shitty dog as a result of it. And it would have been my fault and my reputation. And so I'm thankful that I went through what I went through to get to this point.
Yeah, I've had people that before I wasn't really a good trainer either. When I first started, probably 15 years ago, people would come to my class and go to one or two classes.
Yeah.
And then I would never see them again. And then I heard that they were telling the guy that was writing them a ticket for having an off-leash dog that their trainer was Bow Wow Bill or something, or they would claim that I trained their dog, and I'm like, look, I don't. And just like what you're saying, it just kind of ran my name through the mud, and it just kind of makes you double take about who you accept into that little circle of trust, and who you're going to allow be your ambassadors to help grow your business, right?
Exactly. I don't mind if you wear my T-shirt with my logo on it. Go right ahead, but I might not be training your dog, but you can go ahead and wear it because I don't mind people advertising for me.
And then you do mostly prong and slip. You don't do e-collar at all?
I do everything.
Okay.
For the group class, all I did was prong and slip.
Okay.
Because I can't do. There's not enough people to coordinate enough to do e-collar in that short amount of time in that group setting. Because most people need that full hour to understand and go into it. And I probably 20 minutes into talking at the group thing, half the people are zoned out and people bring their kids and all that shit, and I'm just like, look, I don't mind if you bring your family as long as you don't have to spend your time corralling them and doing that bullshit, and everybody's paying attention. Because literally everybody has to be on the same page with your dog, or it's not going to work.
Yeah, I mean, you could have one person kind of throwing the whole thing off,
Yeah, and it happens all the fucking time.
Yeah. Well, and it's just like the dog is going to be as strong as the weakest link, right?
Correct.
And so, and the better. Sometimes I'm working with a lot of even like housekeepers and stuff.
Yeah. I worked with a groomer just to help her be able to handle dogs that come in all the time that are giving her problems. Nothing, in depth or anything, but like how to read the body and understand that the dog's really not aggressive. It's just scared, and you're thrown in here with 20 other dogs.
Yeah.
And it's like, so what does it do? It's fight or flight. Well, it got nowhere to go, so it's going to be a fight.
Yep.
So teaching them how to recognize things, how to handle that if it does happen, things like that, and it's pretty cool.
How to recognize the threshold of when they're going to bite you, versus when they're just checking you out, and how to navigate into that threshold to get a little bit more comfortable with your presence. Definitely. Right.
Lip snarls and ears back, all that shit.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that we can learn from each other as professionals just through observation, and that's why I tell people videotape yourself too. Yeah,
nobody ever does. I tell them do that and send it to me. You can send. I don't care if it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I might not get it right then, but I'll watch it and I'll send a critique back. Nobody ever does it though. I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't care. Yeah.
Well, it's because just like when you were telling me before we started about sweating bullets in front of the camera.
I mean, I have very few training videos out because I'm short and fat and I hate it, and I don't want to be on camera looking like that. So that's the main reason why I don't put out a lot of video. But I need to get my ass out there and do it because it just shows people that that's how I work with a dog. That's the guy I want to work with.
Yeah. Well, let your
or
dog
not the guy I want to work with, whichever.
I think I'm going to make some videos of my little Ash dog doing some competitive like healing and stuff like that, just to show people it's just it's the little guys can do it too. Yeah. And I want to make like little bite sleeves and stuff, like itty bitty ones. So I think that'd be hilarious.
That would be fucking funny. Put it on.
Well, and Jason Vasconi was here, and he was like, "Man, you got a perfect land here for sheep." And I was like, "Man, I want mini sheep, like little itty bitty sheep for my little itty bitty cattle dogs to herd them." Oh man!
Have you started teaching them to herd?
No, I haven't. I want to.
That's so cool.
Jason was talking to me about that. I would love to do that. And then you need to get into yoga, my man.
Dude, I've been. Don't laugh. I was doing DDP yoga.
Cool. Diamond Dallas Page.
Yeah, for a while, and then I just got. I went on a business trip and ate shitty and gained back a bunch of weight and stopped doing everything, and it just turned into a vicious cycle. So now I'm trying to get back on my carnivore way of eating and feeling better. So
yeah, just get back on or get into yoga. That's what I tell people.
Yeah, that too.
I'll be going here in 20 minutes. I'll be going to my yoga class, and it's
the hot yoga.
Yeah, the hot yoga. The thing is, man, is that the first time that I ever did this hot yoga, and I try to get as many guys into doing it as possible. I challenge you, if you're a guy and you haven't done yoga and you think that it's super easy.
No bullshit.
I challenge you to go to a class. Just go to the easiest one that you think.
It's not easy at all.
No. Not at all. And you're going to realize that it's not that it's not easy. It's also that it requires a lot of discipline on your end. And it's a encapsulated time that you can focus on yourself, not just through exercise, but also through meditation and just focus.
Yeah,
and being present,
Yes, sir.
So,
definitely.
I challenge you too, Mr. Vose.
We'll see, brother. We'll see.
Do you have any hot yoga around you?
Man, I honestly don't know. There's hot chicks that go do yoga for sure. I don't know if there's a hot yoga class anywhere near me, but
that's the other aspect of it, dude, is that the guy-girl ratio at these yoga classes, and I'm married, I'm not dead, but is phenomenal. Like, I was in a class the other night, it was 1 guy to 20 girls.
Damn. Like Australia.
Yeah. Do they have a good guy-girl ratio?
I think they have more girls than guys, if I'm not mistaken.
No way. Let's see. I'm gonna Google it. Almighty Google. So how do people get a hold of you, bro?
So they can email me. I don't have an outlaw email yet, but I just use my old one, Danny@Danny'sPack.com. Or they can text me or call me at 214-560-1840. Or they can go and message me on the business page, and while you're there, give it a like. I'd appreciate it.
Male to female ratio for Australia is 99.36 males per 100 females. So just
wow, man, it's gone up.
0.6 females per 1 male. So no, nothing like yoga. So
right?
What did you say it was? Danny at
Danny's Pack.
Danny at Danny'sPack.com.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Cool. There's that. Danny at Danny'sPack.com, and I'll put it down here in the comments down below. And anything else you want to talk about, dude, or speak on at all? I know
whatever you want, brother. You're the boss.
Well, I know that you are. Is there any organizations or anything that you're doing that that you're working for? I know that you just did the training classes for the defense contractor. Are you doing anything for veterans? Did you go down to Larry's thing?
I did. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Oh man, if you ever want your mind blown, go to a Nelson Hodges or Larry Cron seminar. I mean, both of them are down to earth and will help anybody and everybody, especially Larry. He's always, he gets millions of emails, I'm sure, but he's always been kind, and he's even called me to help me sometimes. And I count him as a friend, but it was just mind blowing. Like, I've seen all his training videos on YouTube, and I've read the book, but seeing it in person is much different than that. So if you get the opportunity, absolutely do it. And then Nelson, I love his approach. Shut the fuck up and just walk with your dog. Don't talk to him. I love it. And it's so hard because everybody's like, oh, look at the puppy, or come, all that bullshit. It's just like, shut the fuck up and just do it, And I love that. It's like, yeah, okay, I can do that. So it was phenomenal. And there was, I don't know how many there were, maybe 20 or so people came out. Probably more. I'm off on that, I'm sure. Adrian was there. Nick was there. Couple other people were there. And getting to meet those people finally was very nice as well. Because I'm friends with a ton of dog trainers that I'll probably never meet in person unless they all go to IACP conference, which is the only reason I go anymore. Is just to hang out. So
yeah, no kidding.
But yeah, it was really good. Really, really good.
Well, on IACP, canineprofessionals.com, we'll put that up here. That's give a quick shout out. That's where we have seen each other a few times.
Yes, sir.
I think we got our pictures taken last year with the wig on, or what? I don't even know, man.
It was that power pose thing, man.
Oh yeah,
first dinner like that, and somebody called us. I think it was Larry that called us Duck Dynasty.
Oh, Duck Dynasty.
I think that's what it was. I don't know. It's been a while. It was pretty funny. My beard wasn't even that long then, so this year's gonna be even better.
Yeah, Canine Professionals. That's the IACP conference, going to be in Colorado Springs this year, September. I don't even know the dates, but I'm going to be there. You're going to be there this year?
Yes, sir. I'll be there from the 5th through the 12th.
5th through the 12th. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going up early to spend some time in some of my favorite shops up there. So since that's probably what I'll be doing there. So you'll find me baked out somewhere, I'm sure.
Awesome. Well, yeah, Denver's or Colorado's a great state for that.
Sure.
Colorado Springs is a little desert, just so you know.
That's
Denver and all the other places are where you want to go if that's what you're after. But
I'm sure I'll find something.
I'm sure you will too.
There's never been any conference that there wasn't something. So it's good. It's a lot of fun. If you guys haven't been, you need to go. It's a lot of fun.
It's good to meet people. It's good to look them in the eyes, shake their hands, and just talk dog with other people. So if you're a professional, definitely think about going.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of people don't like the way things are presented. Like, you know, the I don't even know what they're called. They're not classes or anything, but they have to understand they're there for an hour or 2 hours. They got to give you a short and condensed version of what they do to see if you're interested in it to progress further with it outside of the conference.
Yep.
So if you understand that, then it's a lot more fun.
The conference is a networking event. It's not going to be something that you're going to solve anything. It's not going to be any. You might get a couple answers, but it's most importantly to meet people, to rub shoulders, and to network with your colleagues, and to build rapport and build human relationships that you can fall back on during your professional.
People you can call on for help.
That's right, and that's it. You know, and that's why I do these live streams as well, just so people can see the face and meet the people that are behind the names, and you know, just see how we talk as colleagues and as people that are friends, and you know, also work with.
I appreciate you having me on here, man. I appreciate it a lot.
Oh yeah, my pleasure, dude. I appreciate you coming on, and I appreciate you as a friend, and look forward to hanging out in Colorado.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's gonna be fun.
So hold on one second, Danny. I'll say goodbye to you on the other end, but we'll say goodbye to the audience now. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys. Thanks for watching.
Check out Danny at Danny's Pack.